Hello, Jenny Hall here for Ink on 3. Today I'm going to create a project to share with you with the Water Lily stamp set. Paired together with the wavy stencil, we will be using some glimmer paste to add some fun accents to a card. Off camera, I have already pre-cut 2 rectangle dies. The black is 1 size smaller than the white paper. I'm going to secure my paper in place and secure the stencil on top of the paper, and then use a palette tool in order to add some sapphire blue Nouveau glimmer paste. I'm being careful where I'm going to place it. You could add it on the entire background, but I thought it would be pretty to just add the blue glitter paste in a few areas. That way it would be very eye-catching. Now I'm going to use a panel of 80-pound Neenah Classic Crest to make a ink blended area for my water lily stamp. The first thing I'm going to do is use a blending buddy brush from Trinity Stamps, and I'm using a very, very light pressure of ink. I'm going to use some blue and then add just a little bit of green underneath it. This is going to allow me to strategically place the stamp on top of the paper after the ink has been applied. I'm not really sure at this point how much green or how much brown I want to have on the water lily image, but I knew it needed to be more than one color. Now this is a totally separate panel, and I'm going to ink blend an area that I can use to create the 2 leaves, the water lily leaves. So I'm going to use a very heavy pressure, which is the opposite from the light looks of the panel for the water lily. Instead, I'm going for a nice very heavy coating of ink onto the paper. There's something magic that happens when using the Atelier inks in my experience. The ink goes into the paper and it settles in, and there's such a beautiful sheen on the paper, and they mix together so beautifully. If you have not yet tried these inks, then it's a must. I'm going to work from a brown area down through the green area, and then I'm adding blue at the very bottom and bringing that blue up just a little bit to mute the green just enough. These 2 panels of color are like total opposites. This one here is so very light, such a light coating of ink, and the other is just like saturated ink into the paper. So I'm using some detailed white embossing powder that's going to really help these stamp lines stand out on all of the dark accents of the project. I want 2 leaves, and so I am placing them side by side, just moving the stamp off of the door of my MISTI, and then I will also give this a coating of some white embossing powder. After I have heat set all of the embossed imaging lines, then I'm going to use my scissors to fussy cut and just go around the edge of all of the images. It only takes a few minutes, and I really enjoy fussy cutting. Do you remember those rectangles? Now we're going to adhere them together. This white being on the background is going to give the eye a place for the color to break up and then just settle down, and putting everything together, that white frame border is going to echo the color of the water lily. I decided to turn the orientation of the card base to landscape because it didn't seem to me that I had very much room for the sentiment. And I still want some of that shiny blue, beautiful glimmer to come across. So this gives me a little bit more real estate on the front of the card to work with. Now I'm going to create the sentiment, and I'm going to stamp that beautifully drawn sentiment onto a piece of black cardstock. Use more of the white detailed embossing powder, and then I'll use my scissors to fussy cut around this area as well. It's such a nice grouping of words that it's not a problem to go around the whole thing just in one nice, beautiful line. All the contours are very easy to cut around. By creating the sentiment in black, then I'm able to have it blend together and stand out from the background of the card. I made sure that the letters in the sentiment not only overlapped that white border area, but the water lily as well. Now I'm using some rhinestones from Trinity Stamps, and I am placing them in a few places, and then I'll use an aqua shimmer pen from Nuvo to give a final accent. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you in the next project.